where they can go unhindered hundreds of miles. When you think about it, why did the Department of Defense realign all of the pilot training for the new F-22 at Tyndall Air Force Base here in Panama City? It dogfights at 1.5 Mach. That's twice what an F-15 and an F-16 will dogfight at, and therefore its turning radius is so much larger, and it needs that vast area. And why did the Department of Defense, on the new, still being developed, F-35 Joint Strike Fighter for all the branches of government and several other nations, why is all pilot training coming to Eglin Air Force Base? For the same reason. They have the access to all of this area. And then you all may recall that the United States Navy had to abandon its Atlantic Fleet training in the island of Vieques off of Puerto Rico several years ago. All of that training has now come to Key West Naval Air Station and the Gulf of Mexico training range. So I have letters from two Secretaries of Defense, the present one, Bob Gates, and the previous one, that says that oil drilling activities in the area east of the military mission line, which is a longitude line approximately here, coming off of Orville Field and Eglin Air Force Base, north and south. All areas to the east of there are incompatible with the defense interest of testing and training. And I spoke to Secretary Gates about that yesterday. So, the long and short of it, you say, is Bill Nelson against oil drilling? I'm not against oil drilling. To the contrary, when we took this area off limits, we created another 8.5 million acres that had not been leased, that was available for lease, called Lease Sale 181 and 181 South. 8.5 million acres that had been unavailable as part of the legislation that then put in statute that all of this was prohibited from being drilled. Not against drilling, not just against drilling, but it doesn't make sense. And I will continue to stand up for that position. So with that as a primer, let me open it up to your questions.
Senator Nelson, you said that you're against drilling where it doesn't make sense. A lot of the recovery efforts have worked in 300, 400 feet of water, as you say. Are you going to propose legislation to ban drilling where it doesn't make sense, like in a mile deep of water?
The answer to that is no. What I have proposed and have filed legislation is to take away the appropriation that would allow any exploratory wells to be drilled until the investigation is complete. Not to cut off exploration, but to cut off exploration now until the investigation is complete and we know of the safety. But in essence, I think the administration is going to be doing that anyway, as the Secretary of the Interior has already been going through and doing a systematic inspection of each of the rigs. I have not suggested in cutting off any producing wells at all. This explosion was in an exploratory well. But I can sure make it clear that the President's proposal for drilling off the Outer Continental Shelf starting in 2012, that's dead on arrival. In the areas that we already have prohibited by statute. And that is the areas that I just described off of Florida, which is also the military test and training range. Yes, sir.
There are supposed to be multiple sources of leaks from the seafloor. This is just capping one. What's going to happen to the others?
I don't know the other sources. Are you talking about from the riser?
I've heard from in the press that there are 3 leaks in the seafloor. One is the major one. It's about 80%.
No, you can get the specifics from BP, but as I understand it, as it was explained to me by the CEO, that this riser, which is the pipe that goes from the wellhead up to the drilling operation, when it exploded, that thing fell down. It's a mile of pipe, and it folded, and it tore, and that it was leaking in 3 places. They have, with the submersibles, they have clipped it off at one place and sealed it. It's still mainly leaking from the wellhead. There's another part in the pipe that it's leaking as well. But if they get the wellhead stopped, that other part in the pipe will stop. Yes, sir. Let me give the press a chance, and then I'll get to you.
Senator, speak a little bit about the worst case scenario. Let's say this contraption doesn't work, and the captain sent on drilling, and it goes over. What is going to happen at that point?
I heard you say if the cap doesn't work, then what?
Then what? Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, here's the well, and if they can't get it capped, they're drilling 2 relief wells. As of 2 days ago, one of the relief wells was already 6,000 feet deep on the way to 13,000 feet. But to get all the way to 13,000 feet, they told me that it takes 90 days. And so, unless something else happens, this wellhead is going to continue to gush what the Coast Guard estimates at 220,000 gallons a day. This is the result of about 2 weeks here. So if that keeps going on for another 3 months, obviously it's going to get bigger. And then depending on the tides and the wind, it's going to move. And that, of course, is a considerable worst-case scenario for these beaches. The estuaries, Apalachicola Bay, a lot of places where marine life is spawned in Florida, and of course you've already been reading the concern in the estuaries here in Louisiana. Any more from the press?